My cheating wife and my own brother, two people I trusted most, conspired behind my back, leaving me to uncover the ultimate betrayal. In a toxic family dynamic where loyalty is fragile, this shocking revelation tore everything apart. What happened next? You won't believe how I fought to piece my life back together. Have you ever been betrayed by someone so close that it left your world in pieces? This is my story of heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately self-discovery. It's a long tale, one that spans years of pain, reflection, and resilience. Let me take you back to where it all began. My younger brother Nathan, and the chaos he brought into my life. Nathan was the golden child of our family. From a young age, it was clear to everyone that he was the favored one. Our mother doted on him, catering to his every need, while I was often left to fend for myself. Nathan didn't have to ask for attention. It was given to him freely. In contrast, I was taught to be independent, to work hard, and to expect little in return. While I resented this disparity, I'd always hoped that Nathan and I could have a bond that went beyond our family's favoritism. Growing up, I was quiet and introverted. I found solace in books and learning, while Nathan thrived in the spotlight. He was loud, confident, and charming. People naturally gravitated toward him, including our parents. Despite this, I tried to build a connection with him. I would help him with homework, share my belongings, and stand up for him when he got into trouble. But Nathan never reciprocated. Instead, he mocked me for being different, for wearing glasses, for being nerdy. Over time, his teasing turned into something more sinister. There was one incident that still haunts me. I was 14, and Nathan, who was 12 at the time, tried to set my hair on fire during an argument. I still remember the panic I felt as I slapped at my hair to extinguish the flame. When I told our mom, she laughed it off, saying Nathan was just playing. That moment was a turning point for me. I realized that in our family, Nathan's actions would always be excused, no matter how harmful they were. My father, on the other hand, took the matter seriously and threatened to call the police. It was the first time I saw Nathan face real consequences, but it didn't change his behavior. As we grew older, Nathan's bullying evolved. He no longer needed to rely on physical pranks. His words were enough to cut deep. He would call me names, mock my interests, and side with the kids at school who bullied me. It felt like I had no escape. My home, which should have been a sanctuary, became another battleground. When I turned 18, I earned a scholarship to my dream university. Leaving home felt like liberation. I could finally escape the toxic environment and start anew. At college, I met Sarah, a bright, charismatic woman who instantly caught my attention. We bonded over our shared ambitions and dreams for the future. It wasn't long before we started dating. For the first time, I felt truly happy. Sarah became my anchor, my source of strength. After graduating, Sarah and I got married. It was a small, intimate ceremony. Our parents attended, and for once, it seemed like my family was proud of me. Even Nathan was on his best behavior. Sarah and I settled into married life, and soon we had a son. I thought I had finally left the pain of my past behind me, but as it turned out, my nightmare was far from over. 3 months ago, Sarah confessed that she had been having an affair. Her words hit me like a sledgehammer. But it was the name that followed that truly shattered me. Nathan, my own brother. At first, I couldn't believe it. How could the person who tormented me throughout my childhood now betray me in such a cruel and unimaginable way? When I pressed Sarah for details, she explained that it all started during a family holiday 2 years ago. Sarah had always been kind and empathetic, and she noticed how distant Nathan and I were. She believed she could help bridge the gap between us. During that visit, she spent more time with Nathan, trying to understand him, and even encouraging him to open up about his struggles. According to her, Nathan seemed vulnerable, sharing stories of his insecurities and how he always felt overshadowed by me, a statement that baffled me, given how much he was favored growing up. Sarah said their conversations became more frequent after that holiday. They exchanged texts about family dynamics, and Nathan began confiding in her about his personal life, particularly a painful breakup he had recently endured. Sarah, always eager to help others, believed she was being a supportive friend. But Nathan took her kindness as something more. She admitted that his occasional compliments turned into subtle flirtations, and she dismissed them at first, chalking it up to his poor social boundaries. Things escalated during another family gathering the following year. Sarah mentioned that she and Nathan had been drinking with others late into the evening. Everyone eventually went to bed except for the two of them. They continued talking, and in her words, the lines blurred. Nathan confessed feelings for her, and instead of shutting him down immediately, Sarah said she felt flattered. In that moment of weakness, she gave in to his advances. What started as a one-time mistake turned into a secret affair that continued sporadically, fueled by Nathan's insistence and Sarah's inability to cut it off. Hearing this made my stomach churn. I demanded to know why she didn't tell me sooner or stop it before it spiraled. Sarah admitted that guilt had consumed her, but Nathan manipulated her emotions, making her feel responsible for his happiness. He'd remind her of how no one else understood him the way she claimed. She ended it before our son was born, but couldn't be certain if Nathan was the father. That's when I realized the depth of their betrayal. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a calculated and ongoing choice to deceive me. The days that followed were a blur of anger, pain, and disbelief. I demanded a paternity test, and the results confirmed my worst fear. Nathan was the biological father of the child I had raised as my own. Confronting Nathan was surreal. He denied everything at first, but when he realized the truth was out, he became arrogant. He mocked me, saying that Sarah had chosen him because he was the better-looking brother. His words stung, but they also solidified my resolve. I knew I had to cut him out of my life. My parents were devastated when they found out. My dad, who had always been strict but fair, was furious. He declared that Nathan was no longer part of the family and cut him off financially. My mother, who had always defended Nathan, struggled to come to terms with his betrayal. For the first time, she didn't rush to his defense. It was a small consolation, but it brought me some sense of justice. Meanwhile, my marriage fell apart. Sarah moved in with Nathan, and they tried to raise the child together. I filed for divorce and started going to therapy. It wasn't easy, but with the help of friends and a good therapist, I began to heal. I focused on my career and slowly rebuilt my life. Months later, Nathan called me. His voice on the other end of the line sounded unlike anything I had heard before, desperate, hollow, and broken. Without our parents' financial support, he was struggling to make ends meet. He explained, almost rambling, how Sarah was pressuring him for child support, and his part-time job couldn't cover all the bills. His frustration poured out as he admitted he was overwhelmed by responsibilities he had never truly prepared for. Nathan, who had always walked through life with confidence and arrogance, was now humbled. "Please," he said, his voice cracking, "I need your help. Just talk to Mom and Dad for me. Convince them to give me another chance. I can't do this on my own." I let his words hang in the air, a bitter irony washing over me. Nathan, the brother who had spent his life mocking me, belittling me, and ultimately betraying me in the most personal way, now stood before me, metaphorically, with his hands outstretched, begging for help. I couldn't help but scoff. "You're reaping the consequences of your actions, Nathan," I said, my tone sharp. "You've burned every bridge you ever had. Mom and Dad are done with you, and frankly, so am I." "It's not just my fault," he shot back, his desperation quickly morphing into defensiveness. "Sarah lied to me too. She said she loved me, and now she's treating me like I'm nothing more than a paycheck. I didn't plan for this. I didn't plan for any of this." His words might have struck a chord of pity in someone else, but for me, they only added fuel to the fire. "You didn't plan for this," I repeated, my voice rising. "You planned plenty, Nathan. You planned how to sneak around with my wife, how to lie to my face for years, and how to destroy the one family I tried to build. And now you're asking me to fix the mess you made?" Nathan's silence spoke volumes. After a moment, he tried again, his tone subdued. "I know I messed up, okay? But I'm still your brother. Doesn't that count for something?" I shook my head, even though he couldn't see it. "You stopped being my brother the day you decided to betray me. This is your burden to bear, Nathan. Don't call me again." Before he could respond, I hung up the phone. For a brief moment, guilt tried to creep in, but I pushed it away. Nathan had spent his life tearing me down. Now he was learning what it meant to stand alone. Life has a way of testing us, but it also has a way of healing. Today, I'm in a much better place. I've reconnected with my parents, and my career is thriving. I'm learning to embrace my independence and focus on my own happiness. While the scars of Nathan's betrayal will always remain, I've chosen to let go of the anger and move forward. That concludes this story. What do you think about this, and put it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and make sure to watch the next unbelievable real-life story.